Welcome to Hat-Trick City on WXCI 91.7, Danbury's only all-hockey radio show.
I know that some in our audience don't know the finer points of hockey.
You want me to dummy you again?
Hat tricks, baby! Woo-hoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of Hat-Trick City. I'm your host, DJ Pattycake. As always, joined here in the studio by DJ Uncle Matt. And to start off today's show, got to start off with the big news that came out on Sunday. Daniel Amesbury heading to the coast with the Fort Wayne Komets. So he'll be the second Danbury player from last year's roster to head up to the coast. So obviously, congratulations to Amesbury. Definitely a big signing for Fort Wayne, I'd argue. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a shame to see Ames kind of depart here. We had a lot of good times together, and I'm sure we'll have some more. But it's tough. It's tough to see this kind of. It's the result of kind of a false suspension here. I don't think that making comments on his own show helped him. But, this is entertainment. It's always been a league designed for entertainment. It went through a period where there was some rough stuff and tough guys running around, willing combatants. And I think that there was some collateral for that. I was standing about 100 feet or less, probably 75 feet from where Amesbury delivered the check to Danny Vanderweel, right? Which ultimately got him suspended for how many games? 18?
It was 18 games.
An 18-game suspension. I think it was how many games through was he?
Well, after the Binghamton weekend before he signed with Fort Wayne, he would have had 4 games left, so he would have been. But I think at the time of it, he was, I want to say, 12 games deep into that. So he was, like, if it was last year's suspension, he would have been done. But given that they were like repeat offender within a year, they gave him that extra 6, so he had about 6 games left.
Again, yeah, it just seems like really excessive when you watch the hit over and over. It may have been a little high. It definitely wasn't. Definitely wasn't a hit that came at a high rate of speed or was inflicted at a high rate of speed. It was an awkward kind of speed, actually.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was happening pretty slow. I don't want to comment. I'm not a doctor, and I haven't seen any medical charts or anything. But, some of the players in this league, even some of the coaches now who played in the league, a lot of them experienced concussion issues. I don't think we hear about it today. Concussion issues, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I don't think we hear about it as much because the teams mostly control the media.
Yeah.
When it was the newspapers controlling the media, and I'm probably going to have people that don't want to hear this, when it was the newspapers controlling the media, they cared about concussions. They cared about gambling. They cared about steroids, which were at the very least setting a bad example for the next generation, and frankly staining the game in baseball, if you ask me. But when the media controlled that narrative, we'd hear more about who was dealing with concussions, and that's all been kind of silenced because it's turned upside down. The teams are now putting out content, and not just in the Federal League. It's really mostly predominant in the NHL, the AHL. I doubt there are many beat writers traveling to games anywhere in the AHL except maybe an hour or two away, Bridgeport to Hartford. But yeah, my thought is that these important things like the seizure that Danny Vanderweel suffered, and later that week, I believe a guy on Columbus
Yes.
also experienced the same thing. Maybe those guys shouldn't have been out there at all. I don't know the background of their history, but I think that.
But to add to Vanderweel, though, his history, he had 7 concussions prior to that one.
Well,
so,
I didn't want to say that but that was just something that I heard.
Yeah.
So Danny Vanderweel was on the ice with 7 concussions. That's something that was told to me. I'm not going to report that as the truth. Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah, it was something that we were told. He spent some time outside of hockey. He was an OHL guy, I think, that had some experience in that, and really took some years off. Ended up in Binghamton a few years ago, the year that Dave McIsaac was the coach of the Hat-Tricks. So the point that I'm trying to make is we're a small league, and maybe some of the oversight of these people isn't there. I think Daniel Amesbury's indefinite suspension is collateral, really for probably bad oversight. These guys are dealing with concussion issues. They shouldn't be out there. If Pat LaFontaine stopped playing hockey, it wasn't because he wasn't tough. He was getting creamed every night when he played. So ultimately, your body is the ultimate test. And after a while, if you're failing the test, you shouldn't be out there. And that's with no disrespect to anybody. It's the nature of the issue. But Amesbury's out, and now he's gone to Fort Wayne Comets, one of the oldest hockey teams in the United States. They've been around forever. And, there's whispers and there's some hope that appearing in the East Coast Hockey League, which is affiliated with the IIHF, which is affiliated with the NHL, there's some hope that there'll be a reinstatement in the Fed. It's out there. I'm sure people are discussing it in their chats and on message boards. If that's the case, I think that it's probably highly circumstantial. But we'll see what happens.
And then another big news kind of relating to the NHL. Lane Lambert was let go as the head coach of the New York Islanders, and to take his place, none other than NHL great Patrick Waugh made his head coaching debut on Sunday night against the Dallas Stars. I was able to make it out to the game with a buddy of mine.
Made it.
I did. We were going to go way before they even announced it.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm so serious. I got receipts too, so if you want to challenge me on that. We ended up getting there. Then we realized that we found lower bowl seats that were a little cheaper than what we had already gotten, so we just got with that, sat closer, and I mean, just from that opening period, that just I think first 2.5 minutes they scored, take a big 1-0 lead. I mean, I could already see the energy was just different. Second period a little sloppy. Third period really came back, tied it up for OT, and for OT we were right there on Dallas's goal. So we got to see that whole Bo Horvat backhand.
Amazing finish there, yeah.
Huge finish.
My thoughts are, listen, it's always a show and prove with a coach. That's the nature of the business in pretty much every sport. Patrick Waugh is a legend of the National Hockey League. To some people, he's a bit of a controversial figure, just based on the energy that he sometimes brings to the game, the tenacity, the desire to win with him is very high. It can be like that with great players. You're talking about a guy who was, one of the last guys. He was the goalie on that great Canadiens team. One of the last, probably the last.
Yeah, the last team
to win
in
the
Canada
Stanley
to
Cup.
win the Stanley Cup.
If you look at that roster, I mean, that's an all-star team. I think Chelios, maybe they won after that. I'm not sure.
I think it was after,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, the Islanders are going to have to adapt quick. If anything's going to happen fast, he's going to have to show that he can improve the team fast. Because if he goes into next season, right? If he goes into next season and it doesn't work out for the Islanders, he's on the hot seat right away. Because he's going to bring in his own style, which there have been reports that it can kind of be brash. And if you're not winning, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You look at tenacious coaches. As a matter of fact, this weekend, my brother, who coaches the George Washington University men's basketball team, he went up against UMass, and their coach is Frank Martin. He's a very intense coach. He's the guy who has that quote about how the adults have changed and not the kids. The guy's a winner. He's made a good team up there at UMass, and he can justify an often kind of hard style with results. If you're not winning, if the Islanders stay the way they are, it's nice that they won his first game.
Yeah.
But if the Islanders stay the way they are, it won't be a happy marriage.
No, and I mean, at the time of the recording for this episode, they're going to play against Vegas tonight at home. I know, obviously, in the last meeting, we had Lambert as coach and lost that, I believe, 5-2, if not 5-1. So, I mean, I'm not expecting a win out of tonight. I'm just expecting a way better performance in comparison to the last matchup we had with Vegas. But last weekend, obviously, the Fed was on the road, but I wanted to talk about the NAHL team first because, man, oh man, they got the weekend sweep over the Northeast Generals. Lucas Furston, he made 2 great appearances over that weekend. He got a shutout on Friday night, 4-0, following that with a 4-3 shootout win.
Pat and I are at almost definitely every home game for the NAHL team, and we can tell you that it's some good hockey. And recently, the guys have been playing better.
Way better.
What's their record in the last 4 or 5 games?
I know at least in the last 4, they're 3-1.
I think it's impressive now. I mean, again, the last few weeks they've been gelling. They've had the time to go through stuff. They beat a really good
Generals team.
Yeah, a really good Northeast Generals team that's ahead of them in the standings this weekend. They beat them twice. They beat them really solidly on Friday night, and they came back to win a shootout, right?
Yeah,
4-3 on Saturday. So, we're there all the time. We're always looking for people to kind of volunteer and help out on those nights. We need goal judges sometimes. Congratulations to Mike Tozzi and Eddie Nitro Walsh, they call him, for being inducted as goal judges in the North American Hockey League. And shout out to Rich and his son for just a great opportunity to get out there and be goal judges this weekend. So we always need help down at the NAHL and the NA3HL games.
Yeah, and also at the time of this recording, the NAHL team will be in Philly playing against the Rebels, who are just one spot above us with a 14-22 0-1 record. We sit at 8th with an 11-20 3-1 record. So, I mean, obviously, if we go on a hot streak here, it'd be nice to kind of change the standings a little bit. I don't think we'll make a big impact, but it's still definitely big improvement from, what I've seen in the past 2 seasons of, working for this team. And then in the Federal League, obviously, with our hat tricks that we're talking about, they played against Binghamton out there in Binghamton. And funny enough, Corey Cunningham shined on Friday night, got the game winner, 4-3 in regulation. So call that the Hat Trick City effect if you want to. I know I'm definitely going to say that I think our show kind of helped.
I think it is. This is the people's show, and we love having input. And soon I think we're going to start taking call-ins for real. We're going to start taking. We're going to get Tazi on the phone, Nitro, Ron Roquel, everybody who wants to contribute. Trench, always hearing from Joey.
We'll have a number posted out there within this week for anyone to call in and share their thoughts, whether it be on this team or the junior teams or whatever you want to tell us. We'll air it on the show. And then also on Saturday, unfortunately, came down to a 6-2 loss. But out of that also came a 6-game suspension for Chase Harwell, which, with the new rules in the league, results in Billy being suspended for half that time, so he'll be out for 3 games as well. I don't know if I really agree with that rule because Binghamton has already kind of exploited the loophole with that. They just named a new quote-unquote head coach to take the role during that, and then when they come back, Brent Sherwood will be listed as assistant coach. More or less, that's so that if that happens again, this guy will get suspended first, and Brent will take the bench over for any other game. So, I mean, again, this league with I'm gonna try and walk around this as best as I can. With these sudden rule changes, I feel that teams are smart enough to make intelligent roster moves to keep guys in certain places so that if something does happen to them, it doesn't affect the ones that they want to be affected.
It's getting to be stupider and stupider. That's all I could say. It's just getting to be stupider and stupider around this league. You got Amesbury out. Now Binghamton creates some stupid loophole to keep their coach on the bench. I really plead the fifth on this nonsense.
All right, fair enough. And then next weekend, finally, a different opponent that does not have a B in their name. Got the Watertown Wolves at home. Be the only game of this weekend on the 27th at home. And that weekend, Kevin Clark, former New Jersey Devils PA announcer, will be announcing that game. So it's definitely going to be a nice and electric game to see. And I unfortunately won't be there. I'll be working the game in Bridgeport. So hope everyone there has a fun night. I know it's going to be definitely an exciting one, to say the least. Also, the NAHL team will be playing on Friday and Saturday. They'll be playing against the New Hampshire Mountain Kings. So definitely come out to those, especially, on Saturday. Have a nice day out at the arena. They start at 3 p.m., and then you got the game following at 7. So, I mean,
come down,
have a day of hockey. Matt, anything else you want to add before we get into this interview?
I just want to, say there's tough times, and there's always a lot of controversy around Danbury. I mean, they made a Netflix documentary about it. I mean, but I just want to tip my top hat to all the fans recently. You know what? There were tough times earlier in the season. The team is trying to work things out, but I really want to just compliment everyone on how they've handled the situation with Amesbury. The guy's a fan favorite, beloved player, impact player on the ice. And just to have, that taken away just so randomly, I really like the way the fans responded. I mean, again, I've said it 100 times. The league's out to get Danbury at this point. They want to show that a rink like Binghamton can be successful in this league. The last two champions of the Federal Prospects Hockey League have played in small community rinks. I've said this to people, and I said it on the show already. And they want to start showing off the big arenas so that they can get big expansion opportunities in empty AHL, ECHL, SPHL rinks all up and down the East Coast. And it's not conducive to starting new things and getting expansion money when your champions are playing in smaller facilities. The Danbury situation is probably the best situation in the whole league, but to the naked eye, it's a small community-based rink, and that's why this is happening to us. They really want to try and mute us out here in Danbury.
I could not say that more or less better than you, so I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, well said, honestly. I'll go with that, and stay tuned for our amazing interview with Sam Tétreault. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hat-Trick City. This week on the show, we want to welcome Hat-Trick's defenseman, Sam Tétreault. Sam, how you doing today?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing all right myself.
Sam, nice to have you here. It seems like you have been making an impact since you joined the team. I guess you started this season professionally in Sweden?
Yeah. So it was pretty weird. I was playing last year, the USPHL, with my good buddies, and then after one game we were on the road, one of the guys' dad was there, and then my buddy comes up to me. He's like, hey, my dad wants to talk to you. So I come out of the bus, and I see that Ohio State jacket on, and then he was a coach. I was like, all right, I'm not bad at hockey, but I know maybe not D1, maybe not. So I go up to him, he's like, hey, I think you have a potential, what's your plan for next year? I was like, I don't know, I'll go with what I have, And he's like, have you ever thought about going overseas? I was like, well, I'm open to it. So he told me about Sweden. So I was like, why not? And then that's how I got there. And I started there. It was fun experience. The hockey level was pretty good, but it was tough mentally. Away from everything. We were in a small town. I would say like 3,000 people.
Wow. How many people at the game?
I would say 800.
Wow. It's still not bad for a town
bad.
of 3,000.
Yeah.
That's
Almost a third of the town.
That's pretty much what it was happening in the town. It's the hockey games. And, I had my apartment, no car. Train was a big thing over there. Like, people go on train to go everywhere.
Yeah.
But the days were pretty dark, I would say. Like, I was there, like, about a month and a half. There was maybe a week of sun.
Wow.
That's it. And then decided to come back.
I think that we know here in America, on the highest levels, the Swedes and Sweden and Finland, they compete very high. What was the competition like in the league that you were in?
We had one team had a goalie that played. There was a Russian goalie played for the World Cup and stuff like that. Obviously he was like 30, 38, at the end of his career. But hockey level was pretty good. It's different hockey, way different. It's more skilled, less hits. The ice is wider too, so guys have more time to make plays. It's way different. The way they play in offense a lot too. D will maybe sometimes both D will go down, and then they're gonna run some switches, weird switches and stuff. So it's way harder.
Tell us about a little bit about your hometown and what was it like over there? It seems like you played junior hockey and other levels in Canada, I'm sure AAA, and then you also played some American high school hockey here in the States, huh?
Yeah. So when I decided to go play my high school level, first off, I started school was like 20 minutes away from my house, and then decided to move on to one that was an hour and a half. I was staying at a host family there too, so I stayed there for it's like a midget year, and then I had a good time. And now it was the point where I knew people going in the queue, and then others going in the U.S., and then I heard the U.S. was pretty good for hockey, and then keep school going on. So just decided to go to the U.S., started looking up, and then I decided to went to Hebron in Maine, Hebron Academy. Stayed there for 3 years. It was a good time. It's like the mentality is way different than back home for like how school and hockey fits. They knew we would have games on Wednesdays, so Wednesdays were half day school because we'd be on the road in the afternoon. It was a school of like 300 people.
Wow.
Very small, but like I made friends from all around the world. So now every time I want to go somewhere, I know someone. So. Cool.
So what happened in that process? What were you hoping to do? Is that when you go to a prep school kind of from Canada, when you go to a prep school in the States, are you trying to go the college route? Are you trying to get recognized by major, junior? What's the goal there?
Yeah, my goal was to go play college. But by the time that was my last season of my senior year, just starting to look like, okay, well, where am I going? Like, what do I want to do in college? And I just couldn't find anything, so decided to come back after because I didn't want to go to college anymore.
Wow. So did you get close to going to a school? Did you?
No, not really. I think my decision was made pretty early, and then also what switched a lot of things up was COVID happened during my last season, so we didn't play. So that's nobody can see you play, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm back home for a bit because we're doing distance and stuff. So yeah, that's also changed my plans.
Tell me a little bit about just that opportunity there when you're trying to go professional without any college experience. You didn't play in the Quebec League or anything like that. What was the process like of trying to get a professional job?
Obviously it was tough because I'm one of you're the youngest in the team, and then you have like you said, no college experience. But I think I was mentally ready to be there. Just bigger hockey, and I have an agent that also helped me, through the process. But yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward when I knew like I wasn't going to college and all right, I want to start pro.
Wow. So when you broke up kind of with the Swedish team, what was the process like of coming here to Danbury? What was the connection here?
I'll be honest, my agent
Wow.
got me here, knew Billy, and then told me how like good of an organization it was. And then, that's happened pretty quickly.
The fans here in Danbury and around the league, they know that these are entry-level jobs in professional hockey. And like a lot of entry-level jobs, they don't pay quite as much as you would get at the executive level, right? But the question is, how does an agent function for you? Is it do you pay those guys and they go find you a job, basically?
Yeah, so basically, now because it's my first year with him, so it's different, but like they got some guys in the show, and now they get obviously like a certain part of the contract they get out of the agency. So
tell us a little bit about like what back home is like. What's the name of your town you're from?
It's Notre Dame de Stanbridge.
Notre Dame de Stanbridge.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
And then there's 800 people. It's a
Wow.
village. I live on a farm, dairy farm. So home is, I love home.
What do your do your parents operate the farm?
My dad does. He's still so we were doing dairy farm part.
Dairy farmer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then also the agriculture. But unfortunately, it's a lot of stress for my dad, and he's got heart issues. So mixed that with stress, it was
Right.
having a tough time. So we had to sell the cows or permit to produce like certain amount of milk.
Uh-huh.
But we still help. I still help him we do like agriculture stuff, and then he's also a truck driver. But my mom is a financial advisor.
Wow, awesome. A lot of people here in Connecticut the last couple of days, I saw Dom Alessandro and our own Patrick Frenette and friend of the show, Calvin Savoya. They all played some outdoor hockey. So growing up on a farm, you must have had a lot of access to skating outside, no?
Yeah, we had like, I don't know, there's a lot of small villages around, but every village got the outdoor rink, every single one of them. It's it's pretty cool. I love it. You just go out there, your fingers are frozen, toes, but like you're with your buddies and just have a good time. So yeah, it's always a good time to have the outdoor rinks.
So we're guessing you're a Canadiens fan. Let's hear it. Let's hear the truth.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun.
That's tough.
Hear
That's a
the
tough
truth.
call.
I love in Canada, like they're kind of like some people. It's different nowadays. I was just talking about this in the sports writing class that I now preside over here at Western Connecticut State University. It was like, you two here are way too young to remember, but back in the 90s, just for example, right, the Atlanta Braves had all of their games broadcast on TBS. There was no rule against having all of your games on kind of a mainstream cable channel. So, for example, like the Atlanta Hawks were owned by Ted Turner. Turner broadcast the Hawks and the Braves he also broadcast WCW, all on TBS, right? But nowadays you can't do that. It has to be like some kind of regional sports thing. You can't have a deal with but out of that comes so many people that I have met through the years. New York, I met a kid today from Connecticut in the class who they are Atlanta Braves fans. And it's probably because their dad watched the Atlanta Braves on TV. So I'm always interested because I feel like Americans watch their home team. Canadians really watch the whole league.
Yeah. I we watch I watch a lot of games, but obviously it's like I have a little something for the Habs, but they're having always a tough time. So it's always a little bit annoying. But yeah, obviously they get a piece of my heart in there. But I would say it's hard to find teams that I like. I would say Vegas is one of them, especially out of the thoughts of like team that comes out with guys that were like rejected, I would say, like from their teams, and comes out being one of the best team in the league, and then go for the Stanley Cup run and stuff like that. So I love that, like the idea of that. And then, but I would love to follow Fleury, goalie Marc-Andre Fleury. Just the way he loves the game he plays, just you can tell he's enjoying it. There's something that gets me with that. It's just like I love watching him.
So that's more or less your favorite player to watch in the league, you'd say?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm a defenseman. I'm looking at a goalie, but it's just the passion when he's playing. It's just something very, very fun to watch.
And was there anything like growing up for you that kind of influenced you, minus area, that made you a Habs fan? Did your parents watch that or no?
Oh, I mean, for sure, my mom was a Habs fan.
Okay.
So that's that fixed a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we always had our like Saturday night, Friday night at home watching the Habs game after dinner. So yeah, I mean, obviously Habs it's always fun to watch them. You know, you can tell, and like when you go in the building too, like the fans are into it. Like they're gonna have a lot of emotions, and I think that's why it's always fun to go to a game too.
Yeah, I can only imagine the atmosphere at games like that. I mean, but kind of for you, were there any players on like Habs teams that you watched growing up that kind of got you into really wanting to play the sport and pursue it?
Honestly, not really. I was like 4 years old when I started skating, and I just went with it. Started in youth teams, and even my mom would be coaching with another parent. And then no, I didn't really have any Habs player that I would be looking up to.
Or even any player growing up.
I mean, obviously Erik Karlsson. I love his style.
Yeah,
defenseman that can do literally everything.
Mm.
Yeah, him and Hedman, Victor Hedman's pretty good. I love the fact he's a big guy, but still can put up points, go in offense, as well as being defensive D-man. Yeah, like the two-way defenseman thing. I love those guys.
No, big time.
Was your father a hockey player? Did he play at all?
No, never played at all.
Wow.
Never. Just help on the farm, and then.
Yeah, those farm boys, they don't really do much but work. It's often,
Yeah, I can tell you that my dad is a hardworking man, and it's something, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you're a guy that like you said, you kind of bypassed that major junior thing, you bypassed the college thing. Do you get into competitive skates and work with coaches back home? Is that something that you do?
Yeah. Like summertime is usually where.
Yeah, the off season time.
Yeah, off season. Yeah, I had one of the coach back home. We do it's like semi-private classes where like 8 guys on the ice, and it's like mostly D-man, and then we'd be working on stuff. Yeah, I've done that for like 4 or 5 years now. Every summer, for sure helped a lot, and then also got into some programs for workouts during summertime to get better. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about just being here now. You played some high school hockey, and you said you aren't the only Danbury connection to Fort Wayne, Indiana now, as you played in the United States Premier Hockey League, which is a junior league with the Fort Wayne Spacemen. What can you tell the listeners of Hat Trick City about Fort Wayne? You said you had a good time out there.
Yeah, I mean, I went once to a Comets game, and it was wild. The fans are going at it. Obviously, I think Aim's gonna have a good time over there. They love any like rough time, rough hits or fights and stuff like that, which is great. But I mean, Fort Wayne was a great time. Especially the group of guys that was there. I think I was blessed to be with those guys because now they're all college and everything. But it was so fun. Like just, I mean, it's junior hockey. It's just you play hockey, and then after you just hang out with the guys and have fun.
Tell me a little bit about since you've been here. We try to ask guys that there's time on the ice and there's practice, and every individual is always changing. How do you feel you've kind of changed in your time here? Is there any changes you've seen, things you've learned in your? How long have you been here now? 2 months?
Well, yeah, basically 2 months. I would say obviously more mature, like on the ice, knowing like when you do a mistake, like I can tell you can see it more. You're gonna pay for it. I would say, obviously, when you're back in juniors and stuff, like you sign for a contract in the team, and that's it. You're the whole year you're there. Now it's a business. Hockey's a business, so you're in the team, and then the next day maybe you're not. Maybe you're in another one. So it's, I just learned also that your place is never take your place for granted. So, but that's a good thing. You just learn that you gotta work it out. Work hard every day, every practice. I have a good time for sure, but when it's hockey time, it's like business time.
Tell us a little bit about just the goals for you. We've seen it a few times in this league. A good example of it is a guy like Gordy Benelli, probably started in the same league, I think, in Sweden, if I'm correct. He definitely played overseas. It might not have been Sweden, but I want to say that it might have been the same league. Is that what was that kind of, and again, obviously, the goalie with the YouTube page,
Wasn't Sweden, not the same league though.
It was in Sweden, but not the same league.
Yeah.
What league was it?
It's D2. I believe. I don't know if that was.
Yeah. So it's basically the same as me, but like Division 2.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
So, and you were in what, Division 3?
Division 1.
Division 1. So it's like, that's not the main league, though, is it?
No, you got the Sweden Hockey League, and then you have Allsvenskan, and then you have that league, Hockeyettan. And in Hockeyettan, you have 3 division, 1, 2,
So the
and 3.
Sweden Hockey League is above?
Sweden Hockey League is
the top, right?
Is the top, yeah.
Because in Finland, it's the Liga. So I kind of lose track of all that stuff. But yeah, what I could say is was that kind of your goal once you decided you were done with the idea of going to college, or I don't know if you had the chance to play major juniors, like were you like, hey, I'd love to try the European foreign culture thing first? Was that your idea?
Obviously, when I had the chance, I was like, yeah, I'm jumping on it, It's like, I think that's still my goal at some point, end up in overseas somewhere. But maybe just a bit later on, maybe more experienced, older, more mature. But, when I had the chance, I was like, well, if I can go where I want to go, I think overseas would be great. Because they have so many leagues, so many different levels, and then just it's an experience, Go out there, meet new people, different lifestyle, language, and then you're like, Europe is pretty. It's a lot of countries for a small place, so you can like visit a lot. So that's. I think it was always like in my plan.
I might have missed this. How far did you say you were from Montreal?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. So you're in the the area up there, within the reason, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, where? So, do you have a roommate now?
Yes, I do have a
Who
roommate.
Who do you got?
I'm with Bo Zinchenko.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Is there a language barrier between the two of you?
He speaks French.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, he's Ukrainian, but he moved in Canada, Montreal, when he was 7.
Wow.
So
does he speak English?
Yeah, he speaks English.
I never met him.
No, he's one that we got to get on the show.
Yeah, he'd be great to get on the show next. Yeah, if he wants to come in.
Yeah, I'm roommate with him.
How's your guys' room? Who's the neat one?
It's tough. I would say me, but at the same time, just like I feel his stuff are more neat, but there's like more stuff.
Right.
And then there's mine who's got less, but more messy. So it's like, which one's the worst? But yeah, I'll take the
life in the minors is rough. I really haven't spent too much time over there, the La Quinta, but some. But is your hockey stuff all over the room, or is it just your stuff, like your regular stuff?
No, it's just regular stuff, clothing and
everything of yours is at the rink.
Yeah,
you don't
all
have anything drying
hockey
out
gear.
or anything.
Yeah, everything is at the rink.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting slice of minor league life. I think that I don't even think the fans know. Especially at this level, guys traveling from different countries to play here and stuff. You two roommates, for example, and you got to do your laundry, you got to eat, you got to do all these things. So like when do you find? Do you have a? It's I think it's tough because there's practice and then there's sometimes. team things, and then the group gets together as a team. What routines are you in? Like, are you pretty set in routines, or you kind of go with the flow?
I think I'll go with the flow. I mean, we have to practice until like the morning, then get out there by the time take a shower, and then all that stuff. Still talk with the boys. Get out like noon. Usually I just get something to eat, and then I'll just take a nap. Naps are great. And then just watch some TV a little bit, and then usually with Bo we'll go to the gym a little bit in the afternoon. Either let's be at 3 or at 5. We'll find a time. And and at night it's either we go eat somewhere or we eat at the hotel with what we bought from the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes guys want to go somewhere as a group, and usually I'll try to hop in because it's always. I'm here for the experience also, so it's pretty great to go out with the boys and just have a good time.
Are there any places you kind of like to go to eat around the area that's your favorite?
I was hitting hard craving box, $5 craving box from Taco Bell.
Oh, man.
That was good. That was good. But then last time I went there, I come up to the window, I tell him what I want. He's like, yeah, well, we don't have it anymore.
Damn.
I was like, wait, what? And then he goes, yeah, it's $10 for the same thing. I'm like,
no way.
Whoa, okay. But I would say, I would say Taco Bell it's always something good. But like a restaurant, I would say Chili's. I love Chili's.
Interesting. Among your parents and your friends back home, is it mostly French?
Oh yeah.
Strictly
French.
Yeah. Do you miss like French television and shows? Like I'm pretty sure. Like the U.S. and Canada have a big divide when it comes to like what's available on streaming, right?
Yeah. When I go on Netflix compared to someone here, there's different things, different, like you said, TV shows. It's different. I miss like watching the TV in French sometimes, but the hardest is like, now I'm fortunate with Bo, so we speak French in the room.
Right.
But sometimes, when I was in Fort Wayne, it's like only English.
That can be tough, right?
You start like you want to speak your language a little bit. You're missing it. When I was in Sweden, it's all in Swedish. So then I would be on the phone and just with my buddies just to like talk more in French a little bit. I was like almost like annoyed to speak English.
But I can imagine that it's probably gotten, even though there are probably limitations on stuff, I imagine that it's probably gotten better. Like in terms of the NHL, for example, they have with the streaming and the ESPN Plus, you have the option for the French version and stuff like that. So I wonder if that appeals to you.
For hockey games, yes. Like our channel is gonna be in French, but then we also have the ones like in English, but for the same game. So we can choose. But yeah, or sometimes I'll go on Netflix and put a movie in French because I can do it because just change the language. But sometimes it's better to some movies are better in their original language. So.
Where did you really learn English?
I would say my prep school. Because like before that, and like I don't know, back home, like it's like you guys taking like Spanish class.
Right.
It's like once a day or once like
couple
every
hours,
2 days. Yeah, like 1 hour maybe. So and I would learn like verb tense. We wouldn't have conversations. So when I moved to Hebron in Maine, that's when it hit hard. I was just like, okay, so now I gotta think, and then like I'm thinking French, now I gotta translate it and then put it in English.
Right.
But at some point, it just became more like automatic. So, but it took me like I would say like a month to like catch up. So it was pretty quick. I was pretty impressed.
Do you like? Do you still know like every? I don't even know if guys care, but do you like still know all the all the lines to Slapshot or no?
Probably not. No.
That's funny, but no. Listen, it's always kind of great when we get Canadians here in in Danbury because like it kind of gives Pat and I the opportunity, to kind of ask you, like what's your impression of the hockey scene here? Like, does it have that authentic hockey vibe for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't want to give too much credit to the fans, but they're pretty pretty loud. They're there for us. I mean, hey, it's one of the best fan. I think it is the best like fan base I've seen. Like come out after the game to like do autographs, and then guys come up to me, and then like after every game they're gonna be there, talk to you, and then like just this hoodie, gave me that hoodie.
Wearing a Petty Cash Motors hoodie.
Yeah, got it from one of the guys over there. So yeah, I mean it's great. Just you can tell the fans are into it, and gives like so much like passion to they have so much passion to the game that's just it comes up to us too. Like it gets me. It's like damn, that's cool. So yeah, I mean I love it here.
When have you played against all the we don't even play against all the teams anymore, right? We just play against our bubble. So you haven't gone down south or seen. Is this the most people you have ever played in front of?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I played once again at my high school. We were like 2,000 people. It was pretty loud, but it wasn't one time. It was also mandatory to all the students to be there.
Where was it?
In Sherbrooke, back home. So yeah, it was great, but to have like every game like 2,000, 3,000 people just come and watch and cheer like loudly, that's great. It's amazing.
Well, something we sometimes ask the players, it's let's just say it's 1:30 in the morning after a game and you're stopping at a road stop. You're stopping at a big convenience store with a gas station. What are you coming out with?
Oh, probably a bag of chips for sure. I would say like a Gatorade, and then either a bag of like Skittles or anything with a lot of sugar in it. I think it's a classic.
That does sound kind of good. Just that's sweet and salty, right? That's like the main thing. But this is what I was going for. They are going to Carolina in a few weeks, so he will get a taste of the South in this league at least.
That's right. Yeah, they're going down to Carolina.
Was it for the 2nd and 3rd of February? So, have you ever been down to North Carolina at all? Like just for personal or no?
No. I mean, I've been to like Florida last year, but other than that, no. So
okay, so this will be this
am I
man's
supposed
first
to expect something different?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, based off of when we went down there, we were just gravitating towards that barbecue, that southern barbecue.
We went for some great barbecue, but like there's
barbecue.
I always say that it would be cool, the LNAH, and there's just two, like it would never work out that there was like a Quebec team in the Fed. Just doesn't. I don't think it really adds up. There's too much senior hockey, all the junior hockey, all this crowded. But wouldn't it be good to get some road trip poutine? Which is like the real thing.
Have you ever got real poutine? So that means no. So you're talking about it, but you don't even know.
I gotta be honest. The best plate of poutine I ever had was in British Columbia. It wasn't in Quebec, but it was
called
fantastic.
Out on the show.
No, I'm saying like the real that like. Listen, I never had like real Carolina barbecue till we went there and got it. Like I had some fake American New York version of it. You know what I mean? But not like the real thing.
Real thing, yeah.
I mean, we were pulling over in these parking lots and these weird barbecue shacks, right? And we were eating, man.
But yeah, poutine. It's been a while I haven't eaten one, and yeah, I kind of miss it. One time last year, our billet house tried to make some, but it's like with French fries. Yeah, and then the gravy, I guess, like the cheese was like cold. Oh. So I was like, wow. I mean, they tried, but it wasn't even close. I was like, all right.
Where was that?
In Fort Wayne.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Indiana poutine.
Yeah,
not
it's
quite
brutal,
right? Like you think maybe like in somewhere in northern Maine there'd be some good poutine. You start to see start to see some Canadian signs on the road. You know what I mean? You start probably find a bowl of poutine, a plate, whatever. But No, yeah, I think that's, when you have the time and you go on these road trips, I think that's one of the most fun parts is hopping around, seeing the city. What's, a lot of stuff went on this week. Obviously, one of the biggest things is Daniel Amesbury has departed, and he's gone to Fort Wayne, Indiana himself to play for the Comets. We're kind of still waiting on more comment from him, right? We've gotten some.
Yeah.
But we haven't really heard much about anything involving the Federal Prospects Hockey League suspension. At least that I saw was tangible. So it's a shame. It looks like he has, for now, at least moved on to the Fort Wayne Comets in the ECHL, one of the oldest hockey teams in America. It predates the NHL a little bit. And then we had a suspension of Billy McCreary. I offered Billy for me to come in and coach, a familiar face. But, he said, Matty, at this point, he says, I don't think they would get it. And I was like, you got it. So that's not happening. I won't be coaching anytime soon. But Billy's now out for 3 games, I guess.
Three games. So he'll be serving half of Chase's 6-game suspension.
So what, at this point, is happening? What was the vibe in practice this week? Was Billy able to practice, or he's?
Yeah. Practice can be there. It's like games, right? So it's like Chaser can practice but not play games. Billy missed like a few games earlier this year, and gave us a speech before the game. But I think the best way he said it was like he's giving us all the tools. We're the ones on the ice, So if you want to make it happen, it's on us to do it. And I think he's pretty right about it. Obviously he's the one giving us like everything we need, tools, like systems, everything, but it's for us to put it together. So he's gonna be gone through 3 days, 3 games, and we gotta step up and just do the things we know we can do.
Yeah, it does seem like we're going to be seeing a little bit of a shuffle here with Ames gone and Billy out. And I don't know exactly what the injury report is for this week, but I think we have somebody banged up too. No, might have been a rumor I just heard.
I know Jared Yao, put it on the concussion protocol.
Is he still out?
Yeah, he's still out.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be Yao. I didn't want to say or not, but if it was, I thought it might have been him that would be still out. So again, a lot of tenacity on D we're missing right now without Yao in the lineup. Obviously, even less tenacity without Daniel Amesbury around, and obviously Billy McCreary likes to shake things up when he can. So, it's certainly going to be a test this weekend, right?
Yeah, obviously, you guys are going to have to step up in every possible way. Yowzer is a big part of the team. Him on D, blocking shots, being like good defensively, and then go on offense and make some plays too. I think we'll have to step up on D and play a better game that we do. And then, I don't want to, I don't know how long he should be out, but we're lucky that maybe we have just one game this weekend, and he can play back when we go to Carolina. So I think that one game we just have to all step up a little bit and get some Yowzer out of us.
Yeah, this weekend they'll be playing against the Watertown Wolves on Saturday.
That's the only game.
That's the only game this weekend. Yeah. Tell us, what's kind of the vibe going into this weekend? I know we haven't really seen much of Watertown in at least a month, right?
It's been a while, yeah. A lot of bingos and stuff like that, but I think it's always good games to watch and play. The vibes. It's I don't know yet. I don't know. We had free no ice yesterday, just to like everybody get a little bit like healthier, better.
Yeah.
And then we went back on the ice today, and guys were the vibe was good. Guys were always happy. I would say every start of the week, we're pretty, in a good vibe. Good vibe. We want to play out there. We want to win, and then we want to get better, but also, in positive ways. So yeah, the vibe is pretty good.
Obviously, Kyle Gonzalez is still out, and I guess he'll be probably handling some more coaching duties, probably in game. What's it like to have a guy who's played I mean, he's probably well over 100 pro games now, maybe even 200, right, with Kyle Gonzalez?
Well, I was going to say pro games maybe entirely, but not in the Fed, at least.
Yeah, not right. Let's see.
But, I mean, just having him on the bench, he's still a big part of the team. He's always going to talk to us, give us some advice on D. I think he had his operation for his back today in the morning and texted us. It was fine. It went well.
Good.
So, I mean, just if everything goes well, he should be able to come back, maybe
It looks like
run.
It looks like he's at 171 professional games played for.
Games.
Yeah. What's the kind of stuff a guy like that is saying to you on the bench during a game?
I would say sometimes he's gonna tell me, it's a good play, but sometimes, that option was maybe there. A lot of positive enforcement too. I can clearly see that from him. I just have very often I'll go to him and have a chat either about something on the ice or just in what's going on with me, and then we have a chat. I know he's there. He's a good listener and gonna give me good advices. So I mean, it's clearly still a big part of his team for sure.
I mean, yeah, and that's always good to hear from someone like that. A veteran player, obviously taking the most out of an unfortunate situation with injury and really just helping this team be as shaped up as it can be.
I don't know if we've asked the players this before, but I think I'd like to run it past Sam just in the last couple of minutes we have here. We had some discussions already on the show this season about the new Women's Hockey League using the rule that a shorthanded goal ends a power play. And to ask a defenseman that question, I think it's very interesting. How do you feel about that rule? Would you be interested in trying it out?
That's tough. I mean, I think I do personally. No, I don't want it. I mean, for me, it'll be okay, great. Like if in PK and I just hammer it down, goes in, good, and then we're like even straight now. But I don't know. It just feels like you can already ice it without like having icing. So like if you just I don't know. I just don't think it should end power play. It gives the team already gets a lot of energy out of it when you score on PK.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need to. I don't know. I just think rules are fine the way they are. But
yeah, no, he's a traditionalist here, Sam.
I mean, good old hockey is always better. But
I wouldn't be surprised if we see that rule somewhere in the hockey world sooner than later.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you I don't know how much they're doing it anymore. I know that Major League Baseball was using the Atlantic League to test out all these rules in independent baseball that they may try. I think the virtual umpire and stuff, the pitch count, I think it all was tested in the Atlantic League.
Yep.
It's all unaffiliated baseball, so it's not part of the organized baseball of the Major League system. So I wonder if the Fed would someday, I mean, I guess they're doing it in the Women's League now, right? They're testing out this rule. Be interesting to see if the Fed or the SPHL or somebody adopts that rule for at least one season to try it out, because I personally think it adds a different element to a game. But as a defenseman, yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't like it so much.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Sam, is there anything you want to tell the fans going into this weekend before we close it out?
Saturday night, be there. I mean, it's gonna be a fun night, a good night. Hopefully, we can get the W for the weekend. I mean, stay with us along the road. We appreciate you guys, and yeah,
love that. Once again, Sam Tétreault on the show. Again, thank you for coming down.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you
Great
guys.
chatting with you, man.
Thank you.